and we're just pleading with anyone that would have any information to help us find her.
It would mean so much to know that my mother is alive and well, and I know that if she's found, it's a miracle.
A woman missing for more than a month has been found dead.
CMPD says remains found this afternoon in a North Charlotte creek near Kirkgard Trail are those of 79-year-old Nancy Brown.
79-year-old Nancy Brown was last seen around midnight on December 9th, 2023, at a home on Newhoff Lane in Charlotte, North Carolina. She lived in New York City and was in Charlotte visiting her son and other relatives for the holidays. Family members noted Nancy suffers from dementia, a cognitive impairment, which she was diagnosed with last year, and feared she may have gotten on a bus headed back to Brooklyn, New York, without telling anyone.
Well, tonight, a multi-state search for this Charlotte woman who disappeared this week. Her family says she may have been confused about where home is. Glenn Counts learned her family thinks she may have got on a bus out of town.
Nancy Brown loves bowling. The former New York City educator traveled when she wasn't working.
Egypt, she's been to Paris, Scotland, and she's been all over the world.
Ronald Brown is her son and Michelle is her daughter-in-law, and they are worried sick about her.
I'm just praying every day because it's been a week.
Nancy Brown suffers from dementia. The 79-year-old woman was diagnosed last year. On Saturday, she wandered off from her North Charlotte home on Newhoff Lane near David Cox Road in Sugar Creek.
Well, it's just tough without her being around, regardless of a holiday season. Every day that she hasn't been here has been very difficult.
She forgets a lot of things. My father has passed, and she forgets who he was. And sometimes she forgets that I'm her son.
Brown spent most of her life in Brooklyn, New York, but a few years ago, her family moved her to Charlotte so that they could take care of her. Now they are worried that she might have forgotten that Charlotte is her new home and caught a bus to return to New York. CMPD has put out advisories to the following cities along her possible bus route: Wilmington, Raleigh, Richmond, Washington, D.C., and New York, New York.
It's difficult to see who they were and come to grips with what they're dealing with now. And any one of you could be in our shoes. And we're just pleading with anyone that would have any information to help us find her.
It would mean so much to know that my mother is alive and well, and I know that if she's found, it's a miracle.
Detectives with the CMPD were following up on a lead in the search for Nancy Brown when they found a woman's body in a nearby creek in the area of the 4700 block of Kirkgard Trail, an adjoining development off West Sugar Creek Road. Around 2 p.m. on January 15th, the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department says searchers discovered remains believed to be that of Nancy Brown, roughly a third of a mile from where she was last seen. Nancy's friends and family were devastated. The loss of Nancy was both painful and unexpected. No one could have predicted that things would end like this. Now they are left with plenty of unanswered questions and memories of the past. As they find the strength to come to grips with the reality of it all, they say Nancy will remain in their hearts forever.
Paul Sims Jr. was minding his own business when he said a neighbor and CMPD officers came to his home and informed him their search for missing 79-year-old Nancy Brown had turned up her body in a creek in his backyard.
That's something that, thank goodness, doesn't happen every day.
Paul Sims says the unthinkable happened just steps from his Northeast Charlotte home. Police showed up and told him something no one ever wants to hear.
They had found a suitcase and some of her belongings up the creek, and started following the creek, checking it out, and they found a body back here behind the house.
That body is believed to be that of 79-year-old Nancy Brown. Officers found the remains in a tributary of Clark's Creek. The New York woman disappeared from a nearby neighborhood on December 9th while visiting family members. Investigators say she was cognitively impaired. She left with a suitcase and a family photo album, possibly trying to get back home to Brooklyn. But her family never stopped looking, nor did police.
It's just a sad situation. Anytime somebody passes away, thank goodness they found them and the family can have some closure of what happened.
Well, this hard-hitting tragedy does not only impact folks living here in this area, but it can also be felt miles and miles away in New York City where Nancy lived. I spoke with a close friend who says this feels unreal.
It's just impossible for me to understand that this was how her life ended. She was so vital and so vibrant and such a wonderful human being.
The most painful goodbyes are the ones that are left unsaid and never explained.
We can't get over it.
Leaving friends like Gail Wangle with an emptiness impossible to feel. She lost her best friend, someone she considers a sister of 50 years.
I was positive she was still alive. We keep calling each other and saying, did it really happen?
After more than a month of searching, CMPD says they located the deceased remains of a female believed to be 79-year-old Nancy Brown. The remains were found in a creek near Kirkgard Trail, in an area not too far from Paul Sims' backyard.
She was found in the water, pushed up next to the bank, covered in debris, leaves, limbs. I was on the bridge. They used my bridge to bring the body across, but I watched her taken, put on a stretcher.
It was the missing piece to their investigation. The missing piece that now leaves a hole in the hearts of family and friends. Wangle says she knows Nancy will always be in her heart, but she'd rather have Nancy by her side for just a little while longer.
She kept holding my hand and rubbing my arm and saying how the most important thing in life are family and friends. And I said to myself, it sounds like she's saying goodbye. I am very glad I had that last moment with her. Because that's what I'll remember and that's what I'll hold on to.
Law enforcement, along with family and friends, are encouraging anyone with information to come forward. The medical examiner's office will investigate the cause of death and verify the identification of the deceased victim. The case remains ongoing.